Hello there. Welcome back to the channel. I once heard that stocks are like those surprise candy machines at the fair. You never quite know what you're going to get. Sometimes it's a golden nugget of fun. Other times it's just a sticky piece of gum that leaves your wallet feeling lighter. So buckle up, my friends. Today we're stepping into the wild world of the stock market. Imagine your buddy Tom wandering through a huge flea market. Lots of people shouting, haggling, and trying to sell their oddball items, like lopsided furniture or questionable art. Tom's like a kid in a candy store. He's got a limited amount of cash, and he's eyeing two things: a funky chair that might just fit perfectly in his living room, and a mysterious device that he can't quite identify. That's the stock market. It's a place where people buy and sell pieces of companies, and each item is like Tom's two picks. Both have potential, but come with their own risks. Now here's the kicker. When Tom buys that funky chair, he's somewhat betting on its charm. He hopes his friends will be wowed, and lo and behold, he gets compliments. That's how stocks work too. When you buy a share, you're betting that the company will do well, and its value will go up. Better yet, you may even get dividends. But wait, what if Tom discovers that the mysterious device is actually an ancient piece of junk? Suddenly, its value drops like a rock. The same thing can happen in the stock market. Sometimes companies hit a rough patch and their stock prices plummet. It's all part of the game. Now let's introduce our quirky character, George. George is the kind of guy who brings back souvenirs from his travels. Mismatched spoons, tiny snow globes, you name it. Friends often wonder why he collects these things. They sit in a drawer, collecting dust. The thing is, George's collection is totally different from Tom's chair. Tom's got something useful, while George's items are more like his whims. This reflects two investing strategies: value investing, like Tom, versus speculation, like George. If George decides to sell his tiny spoons but finds no one is interested, he'll struggle to get a decent price. That's called market demand. The price of stocks fluctuates based on how many people want that stock versus how many are available for sale. And guess what? Factors like news, company earnings, and even global events can shift demand overnight. That's why Tom watches the news before heading to the flea market. It's not just about picking out shiny objects, but understanding what's buzzing in the market. What's hot today might be cold tomorrow. Now, picture Tom and George hanging out. Tom proudly presents his shiny new chair, while George is just as excited about his snow globe collection. But then their friend, Sarah, strolls by and decides she prefers Tom's chair. Spoiler alert, she won't pay a dime for those spoons. This is basically how the stock market operates. Everyone gathers around, some buyers, some sellers, all waiting for the right moment to make a move. A bit of the chaos of the flea market turns into a game of timing. Just like Sarah snatches up Tom's chair, investors aim to buy low and sell high. But it can get emotional. Even experienced investors can react wildly when panic sets in. Imagine Tom also had his eye on that chair for months, and suddenly it was gone. Whoa, tantrum alert. It's the same in the stock world. When prices drop, it's like losing a treasure, and market reaction can become downright dramatic. But fear not, just like Tom would eventually find another chair, or at least a good meme to console himself, savvy investors learn to weather those downturns. Stocks shouldn't be impulsive buys. Think of them more like your favorite family recipe, simmering slowly but carefully. It gets better over time. Speaking of recipes, let's talk about diversification. Imagine Tom decides to buy chairs from all sorts of styles: modern, vintage, and even quirky. If one style doesn't work out, he's still got others to sit on. This balance protects him from total loss. Investing works similarly. Owning stocks across various sectors minimizes risk. Ever heard the saying, "Don't put all your eggs in one basket"? Well, it's true. So let's picture Tom again. His house could look like a chaotic flea market display. but he still knows which styles are his main favorites and which ones might just add a splash of flair. That's how you build your portfolio, embracing a mix of sure things with a few fun speculations. Now let's think about how Tom and George tackle their finances. Tom wisely decides to create a budget before heading to the flea market, planning what he can afford to buy. Meanwhile, George just wings it. He sees shiny things, spends impulsively, and boom, he's broke by the end. That's not a plan. It's more like an episode of extreme shopping fails. And just like a budget is important for these two, having a plan with investments can save your bacon. Knowing how much you can afford to risk allows you to make better decisions and helps avoid the panic decisions during dips. Because once you dive into the stock market pool, you'll find it's full of waves, both smooth and bumpy. And guess what? There's no magic formula, no get-rich-quick pill hiding under a rock. It takes patience, practice, and a lot of learning from your own experiences. You know, it's kind of like Tom's first attempt at DIY furniture. He probably gets a chair with a wobbly leg after hours of toil and goes, "What is this mess?" But eventually, Tom learns what wood to use, how to hold a hammer properly, and how to bargain for the best chairs. This is how you'll approach stocks too. Start small, watch a few companies, and read about their progress. Eventually, you'll be able to spot those golden opportunities, just like Tom, who finally created that masterpiece chair, one he can be proud of. And just like that, we've navigated through our flea market stock market, hanging out with Tom and George. We've learned about value, demand, and how to keep our heads clear while diving into the fascinating chaos of trading. But as they say, all good things come to an end. And now it's time to pause for a moment. So, in conclusion, the stock market can seem overwhelming at first, but with a bit of humor and some solid strategies, it's like Tom and George learned. It's not just about buying things, it's about understanding value, demand, and timing. You get to build your collection, piece by piece. If you want me to tackle more wild topics like taxes or crypto, just hit that like button and subscribe. Thanks for watching.